Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Please rise for silent reflection, pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I roll call, please?
Mrs. Cynthia?
Here.
Mr. Divers?
Here.
Mrs. King?
Here.
Mr. Schuler?
Here.
Mr. Tinkin?
Here.
Mr. Vorbach?
Here.
Mayor Mechanica?
Here. Please read the Open Public Meeting Act.
Pursuant to the requirements of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was included in the annual meeting notice filed in the office of the Borough Clerk, posted on the Borough website and in the municipal building, published as a legal notice in the Co-Star newspaper, and mailed to those requesting notice and providing payment in accordance with Borough policy.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Mayor, just before that motion, just a couple of points of clarification. I just wanted to advise the council, I've distributed two items separately. The first is the green resolution that's marked as Resolution R 2013-71 revised. That includes the addition of the third item, which is the use of facilities regarding the Ocean Road Park. So that item is on the agenda, but there is a revised version of that that we can hold further discussion on until the time for consideration. And likewise, Mr. Raffetto has delivered this evening a revised ordinance under New Business Ordinance 2013-03 regarding LoSAP. That has been revised, and that is also distributed, the white copy that is clearly marked. So again, that doesn't change the agenda, but the items are slightly revised.
Okay, can I make a motion to accept the amended agenda?
I'll second that.
Any other questions? Roll call, Jim.
Mrs. Cynthia?
Yes.
Mr. Diver?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin?
Yes.
Mr. Vorbach?
Yes.
There are no presentations at this time. We're just going to move to the public hearing for the 2013 municipal budget. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to speak about the budget, just step forward. Give your name and address.
And Mayor, by way of preface, I know we've had two previous meetings, both at the time of introduction, there was a fairly detailed presentation and review, and likewise at our meeting 2 weeks ago, the meeting included a full presentation and discussion by council. And I know that there will probably be further discussion. In any event, I should also make mention that John Barrett, the borough's financial consultant, is in attendance and has been continuing discussions with the Division of Local Government Services. They have not completed their review, and so at this point we are not ready to formally adopt the budget, but we are holding the public hearing on the budget as it was introduced and published. We do expect that there will be an amendment that will cover many aspects, most of which we've spoken about previously, as well as whatever additional amendments are necessary due to the review by local government services.
So we haven't heard back final from them yet.
Not final, and I defer to Mr. Barrett as far as where he is with that discussion.
John, will you step forward, please?
Sure. Last Thursday, I received the review comments back from the state. As I told you, they're running a little bit behind. Both on Friday and over the weekend, I prepared a response and forwarded that response to their comments this morning that was in their inbox. All day today, I've been in contact with one of the auditors on staff there, and we're in the final approach to basically clearing all comments, but I can assure you that there will be an amendment. So the spirit of tonight's meeting is to just have the public speak on what was introduced. And at that point, at the end of the public session, you can continue this to your next meeting. And at the next meeting, we'll have an amendment for you and forward that to you as soon as it's clear through the Division of Governmental Services. We'll probably advertise that amendment, and at your next meeting, you'll have another public hearing on the amendment, and then you'll be able to have the green light from the division to adopt the budget at that time.
Okay.
And also have a public hearing at that time as well.
Yes,
Sure.
absolutely.
Since nobody in the public has come up, and then there are different faces than we had a couple of weeks ago, maybe, Jim, would you run through the budget again, just so the public can hear it?
Certainly, I can provide a brief overview.
Yeah, because I don't.
Well, I just wanted to ask, when I read this, what does that mean actually, when you say a 3.5% increase for the budget? What does it mean per household? How much is the tax going to go per household?
Yeah, actually, I'm not sure.
That's- I think
I'd like
that's
to
a cold word.
address that. I'm not sure the 3.5, oh, you're referring to the cap bank ordinance?
That's the
Yes.
Yes. John, perhaps you want to cover that first?
Through the mayor, the state of New Jersey basically puts governors on budgets on how much we can increase expenditure. 2% is a given.
That's where we want to stay.
Well, yes and no. The fact is that what is in front of council tonight to adopt is to increase that to 3.5%, or adding 1.5%.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this is kind of a funny, interesting number for us accountants, because it's not a bank. It's not something we store money in, or we increase your budget by that amount, but simply it gives us the opportunity for what's going to happen in future years. So if we don't need that bank this year, if prices of gas and other insurance costs spike in a succeeding year, we can tap into this reserve. But certainly it's a calculation to govern the appropriations within caps. Okay?
And to answer, or if I may, provide the overall summary. The budget as introduced provides for total appropriations to be $5,508,000 compared to last year's $5,642,000, a decrease of about $134,000 in actual spending. This budget also provides for a level zero increase in the tax rate, and in fact provides for a slight reduction of about $3,000 in the amount to be raised from taxes. So this is a budget that provides for a zero tax rate increase, provides for a slight reduction in the amount of actual dollars to be raised from taxes, and the third important component of that is that it provides for spending $134,000 less than was spent in the prior year.
We cut
That's
spending.
as brief a summary as I can probably give, but if there are any specific questions, I'd be happy to address them.
No, I was just doing it for the benefit of people here. who are-
I just want to add to that.
On the Norman Terrace, I know, oh, I'm sorry.
On
He
the
was looking
budget,
at me.
zero tax increase, we've actually cut spending by $135,000 and are maintaining all of our services in every department. So that's, we're doing what the governor said at the Monmouth County Convention a couple of weeks ago. We actually did cut spending, and we're maintaining a level tax rate. I hope that others will follow, but, I can only speak for us, and that's what we're doing here.
Jay, I asked you about Norman Terrace and whether or not we know the amount of that grant is going to be sufficient to do the work.
We know the answer to that, and the answer is no, it is not. We submitted, it's certainly related to budget, and there is an item on the agenda regarding correspondence from the borough's engineer. We submitted an application for DOT, New Jersey Department of Transportation funding, grant funds, to improve Crosby Road, Norman Terrace, and Jeanette Terrace. The total cost of that project, as submitted, is approximately $280,000. We received a $175,000 grant. It is my suggestion that we are reviewing that project to see if the scope of the project can be reduced to either bring it into the funding limit of $175,000, or if what additional funding would be available from the borough to supplement that towards the project. And again, it's jumping ahead a little bit, but we do have a proposal from the borough engineer for the design, contract administration costs, which are outside of the grant. The grant would not fund those at all. So, but I expect that at our next meeting, we will have a recommendation for the council to consider to reduce the scope of the project, to bring it either into budget or close to budget, with the determination as to whether additional funds would be provided from our existing road and drainage improvement funds that were made available through the bond ordinance.
Now, if we make changes, does that change the grant money?
It wouldn't. We would, frankly, it is not uncommon, and it is understood that if we're asking for roughly $250,000 or $260,000 to do a project, and the state only funds a portion of it, we have the option to either supplement that with additional funds from the borough, or to reduce the scope to utilize only the funds that the state has provided.
And so will the funding of that project, or whether or not we're going to agree to fund it or not, will that be done before the end of this budget meeting?
Yes.
Okay. And my other question, my understanding is that FEMA is now going to reimburse the towns 90% versus 75%? And how much found money could that be?
Well, that's actually one of the issues that we had initial discussions with the Division of Local Government Services on, and we're continuing to have those discussions because, as you have correctly pointed out, last week we also saw the press reports where the FEMA reimbursement that we have submitted for was based on a 75% reimbursement from the federal government. That has now been increased to 90%. But we're still having difficulty convincing the Division of Local Government that we can anticipate those funds again until we actually have them in hand. So that discussion continues, but at the end of the day, we do expect, just in terms of the debris removal, I believe we submitted for $258,000. 75% of that is the $175 that we anticipated in the budget. So that delta from the 75% to 90%
That's real money.
will amount to another $40,000.
That's real money.
Engineering fee.
Keep your fingers crossed.
You can't trust Uncle Sam, who can you trust?
The issue that we have there is that FEMA reimbursement, although based on what everything is being said at the federal and state level, that we should see those funds before the end of the year, the Division of Local Government Services is taking a pretty hard and fast position on that, because we can't guarantee that's going to happen in this budget year, that we shouldn't anticipate that level. But again, those discussions continue, and we hope that within the next week we'll be more successful than we have been thus far.
Does anyone else like to speak on the budget or the,
Budget hearing.
anything else? No. Anyone up here have any question or comment?
Motion to close it?
Need a motion to close the
Public hearing.
public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ordinance number 2013-2. Now, we're going to move ahead and adopt this. Is that correct, Fred?
Yes,
So we need a motion to,
you have to open the public hearing now.
we have to open the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor? Just one second. Fred, do we need a motion to carry the public hearing for the budget to the next meeting?
Generally not. What will happen is we will technically be holding a hearing on the
On the
amendment.
amendment.
Okay. I just want to be sure that,
So you close the public hearing on the budget as it was introduced. When an amendment comes forward, there'll be a public hearing limited only to the amendment,
at that next meeting, at our next meeting.
whenever it's.
Presumably.
Yes.
There are some obscure rules depending on the nature of the amendment. It's something that will either have a hearing prior to public, or a publication prior to hearing or not. In any event, this is the hearing on ordinance number 2013-02, an ordinance to exceed the municipal appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. The previous question during the budget hearing was related to this, and again, this provides no authorization to increase the budget or increase the tax levy, but simply provides the flexibility in future years to essentially utilize the spending authority that we are not using this year because we're having a increase in, actually a decrease in our appropriation spending.
Would anyone in the audience like to speak on ordinance 2013-2, the cap back appropriations limit? Need a motion to close that, please?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And now
And this
need a
time,
mo-
Mayor, it would be appropriate to entertain a motion for the adoption of
Okay,
this.
thank you, Jay. Need a motion to adopt ordinance 2013-2,
I'll make that motion.
and a second?
I'll second.
Any questions?
Well, I'm not gonna vote for this tonight. I think if you give the government the ability to spend the money, they find a way to happen. So maybe it's not this council, but if we need money in the future, we can always change.
I agree with you to a point. We're talking about the federal and local, they're two different entities.
I got you.
Remember, we're in control of our local. We can't do much about the federal government. Control that office. Okay, but you do what you have to do. Anyone else? Okay, roll call, Jay?
Mrs. Cindy,
Yes?
Mr. Dibber,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Schuler,
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin,
Yes.
Mr. Vorbach.
No.
Good on that, Jay?
Yes.
Thank you. At this point in the meeting, we have the first voice of the public. You may speak on any agenda item. Just step forward, give your name and address on any agenda item. Seeing no hands, we need a motion to close it, please.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion items. We have the council reports. We'll start with Mr. Timpkins.
Sure. Jay distributed a little matrix of the summer rec programs. As I stated at the last meeting, we were able to increase some of the offerings, and it looks like the offerings that we will definitely have is obviously the regular summer camp, which we've already started registration. The next registration is June 11th from 6 to 8 in Borough Hall, okay, and there'll be another one after that. We're going to continue to offer tennis, and the matrix shows you that tennis will be offered for grades 2 through 8. Golf, thanks to Mr. Schuler, we're able to get a golf instructor in this year who will come to the rec center. We don't have to travel. And he'll offer a one-day kind of intro for kindergarten and first graders. Obviously not using real golf balls.
I might need to sign.
Also, another one-day introduction for grades 2 and 3, in terms of trying to build some interest with the younger kids. And then a more regular program, I think it's a week-long program for grades 4 through 8. And then we have an artist in residence program where we'll have an artist come and the kids will do, like the famous sunflowers painting and some Monets and things like that. A one-day experience for grades K through 1 to build some interest, a one-day experience for grades 2 through 3, and then I think it's a 4-day kind of institute for grades 4 through 8. Okay. We're having a math camp for grade 8, our graduating 8th graders who are going into high school. It's going to be a 2-week kind of algebra boot camp for kids who are interested in that.
You have sign-ups for that?
I'm sure
Yes, we
they'll
do.
think it's pretty camp too.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
I know, it sounds like fun. Then we have, we're bringing in a presenter called Mad Science, and they're going to do a series of science experiments, grades K through 8, and obviously the experience will be different for each grade level, grade appropriate. We have an acting class coming in for grades right now 4 through 8. We may open it up to younger kids. It's kind of like an improv course. It's a lot of fun. And then we're trying to bring back a mommy and me experience for the pre-K kids to kind of get them, although they can't attend the formal summer rec, they're going to bring them into the process. So to bring them into the rec process early. Now, Mayor, the summer camp, the regular summer camp, that's what's covered by the general fee, okay? These other experiences are going to be pay-as-you-go experiences. Because as you know, we try to keep everything cost neutral. We charge only what we have to charge to cover the costs for the town. So these different activities are going to be priced accordingly so that it's cost neutral. And people will be able to sign up like a menu. Okay. So that's what we have planned for the rec as of right now. The second thing we want to talk about is on November 8th, thanks to Eileen Eilenberg is helping me a lot with this. Eileen was able to secure the first show of the Radio City Christmas musical, 2 o'clock show on a Friday. It's the Friday of Teachers Convention. So generally, there's a lot of kids and parents who are home, possibly looking for something to do, okay? So we are in the process of securing a bus and the tickets, and basically round trip with the tickets, we're looking at might be only about $75 a person. Get there a little early for lunch, the bus will drop them off early, they can have lunch, go see the show, and then take them home. June 15th, everybody, we're having the town-wide yard sale. Okay, you'll see that. Mayor, I'd like to be able to put that on the website. Also, if we can put it out on a phone notice. And then Jake, can we talk to the school?
Check with Jay on that.
Sure.
And we can talk to the school about putting it on the sign.
The sign's not a problem, nor is the website. The reverse, we have generally a policy of reserving that for emergency use, but that's something we can.
Maybe I'll talk to the school, because the school has their own Honeywell system.
That would be.
But if
But we will.
if you saw my garage, you would realize that this is an emergency and I need a yard sale. So I'd appreciate any help you can give me.
Point well taken.
So, but you have to get your permits by June 13th, and I believe those permits can be picked up here at Borough Hall?
That's correct.
Okay, all right, and then of course, Mayor, I just wanted to thank you and all the members of the town who participated in the Memorial Day ceremony, and I very much appreciated your speech. Thank you very much.
Well, I thank you, Chris. And I thank you for being interested in math and science. That's a real big sore spot with students today. Thank you, Chris. Mr. Warbeck.
Yeah, Chris, you stole my thunder. I was going to compliment the mayor as well. Great speech. The council showed up, the veterans, the fire, the police, school band, all the residents. It was really a great ceremony. So I just wanted to
Well, thank you.
express that. It was
Thank you.
great.
I was glad you were there. I thank you guys for coming as well.
Sure.
A little history. I normally I'm with the school band, that I've kind of retired from that. So it was my first time as a council person and not running after sheet music and stuff. So I really got to actually appreciate the ceremony as opposed to kids dropping drumsticks and things like that. You know, so
Very
it was
nice,
nice.
Mr.
Well, thank you.
Ms. Cindy.
I just have about the Crosby Road, Jeanette Court, Norman Terrace project, and the fact that we don't have the money to complete the job in the current budget, and hopefully we'll be able to find that money and have discussions, as Jay had said, about either changing the scope of work or putting more money into the budget for the completion of that project.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. King.
I don't really have anything report-wise, but I do want to give a very, very hearty thanks to our police department, who was involved in the president's visit to the shore area today. And it did require a lot of planning and a lot of guarding of the different streets and what have you. Spring Lake Heights Police did an excellent job. Our chief was down at what they called the command center, which was Seeger Army Camp. And he told me that some of the towns did have a few glitches, but we came through it with no hitches, no anything. So I do think our police need to be commended. And I believe all but one of our patrolmen participated, only because he just got married. However, everyone else did participate, and we also did that without paying any overtime. I do believe our guys volunteered. So I just want to really say thank you to each and every one of them, and especially the chief for his long hours and hard work, because this had to be coordinated with the state police and other towns, so it was a job well done.
Mr. Dillard.
Nothing further at this time, just in terms of the budget. We'll wait and see what comes back from the Division of Government Services, and we should be ready to go in that next meeting.
Okay. Mr. Schuler.
Nothing.
Thank you. Reports, notices, there's a list there, we'll just receive and file those, Jay.
Yes, Mayor. As I indicated previously, the report or the proposal from Joe May, Borough Engineer, for the Crosby Road project. We'll be reviewing that in more full discussion at our next regular meeting.
All right, thank you. New business on the ordinance introduction. This is ordinance number 2013-3, LoSAP.
Yes, Mayor, you'll recall that at a previous meeting, we had received a request from the Spring Lake First Aid Squad. This is an adjustment to what's commonly described as the point system. As I mentioned earlier, there is a revised version of this that has been distributed, but this is for introduction by title, an ordinance amending and supplementing section 2.24 entitled Length of Service Awards Program, LoSAP, of Chapter 2, Administration of the Revised General Ordinances of the Borough of Spring Lake Heights, New Jersey.
Need a motion and a second for ordinance 2013-3.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have any questions or comments?
Seems like it simplifies everything.
And this is a good, it's a good, to keep the volunteers coming. They are volunteers.
That's right.
And they're dedicated, so.
Extremely dedicated.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mrs. Cynthia?
Yes.
Mr. Diver?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin?
Yes.
Mr. Vorbach?
Yes.
Thank you. New business, resolution R 2013-71. This is the consent agenda. I believe. Community center use waiver, rental fee, condominium, and the outdoor music permit. Also the additions, right?
That's correct. The addition that's on the green revised copy.
Yes. Can I speak to the addition? Yes, I believe we need a motion and a second for Chris.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I'll second it.
Any questions on the consent?
I have a question.
Chris?
Oh, go ahead, good, no, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, the additional insured, the certificate of liability certificate over here is listed as West Freehold School.
Yes, you can see that this came to us by means of an email, I guess technically yesterday, but we received it this morning, and they have provided us with the sample certificate of liability. We've indicated that we would require one that obviously names the borough as an additional insured for this activity.
Okay, well, this is just a certificate holder. That needs to be changed, and then there has to be language in here as far as the, this town being named as an additional insured.
Yes.
Okay. You're gonna take care of that.
Okay, good, good.
Yeah, just as long as
Chris?
it's done.
Mayor, I just have a comment. I don't know if I direct this to Jay. But whenever there's a large event at Ocean Road Park, sometimes cars park on the westbound side of Ocean Road, on both between 11th and 12th Avenue and 10th and 11th Avenue. And it makes pulling out onto Ocean Road from either 12th or 11th extremely dangerous because you can't see the oncoming traffic. So I don't know if during events that we know are going to take place, if they can cone it off and make that one side of the street no parking or something, or maybe have I don't want to have to put an officer out there, but maybe just make them aware that it's a potential issue. I've seen potential clippings.
Could it be something where we have like road cones for 25 feet?
I'll get Ms. King then. Can you check with the chief?
Certainly.
Just between 10th and up to 12th, just pulling out onto Ocean Road.
Just trying to keep the corners clear.
And you get an SUV parked out there, you can't see. You have to be in the middle of Ocean Road to see around that.
Okay.
It's dangerous.
Okay. Anything else on the consent
I
agenda?
just had one question. Why are we waiving a rental fee? We don't usually do that.
For
The community center? It looks like a
organizations.
condominium association, right?
Right. Yes, exactly. Apparently, it's an annual meeting of the association, and we have done that for a number of condominium associations within the community.
Okay.
It's one of ours.
Yes, it's
It's one of our homes.
yes. And again, I think the reason for waiving the fee is that generally it's what I would call a low intense use. Usually it's an hour or two at the most. It's quick in and out.
No, okay.
I'll check with Mrs. Islander.
Anything else on the consent agenda? A roll call, Jay.
Mrs. Scindia?
Yes?
Mr. Diver?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Abstain.
Mr. Tinkin?
Yes.
Mr. Vorbach?
Yes.
Thank you. Financial resolutions. We need a motion to move the bills to the finance committee.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second
Any
it.
questions on the bills? Roll call, Jim.
Mrs. Scindia?
Yes.
Mr. Diver?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin?
Yes.
Mr. Vorbach?
Yes.
Resolution R 2013-72, approving the payment claims on May 22nd, 2013 bill list. Need a motion and a second.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any questions or comments on roll call, Jim?
Mrs. Scindia?
Yes?
Mr. Diver?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin?
Yes.
Mr. Vorbach?
Yes.
Thank you. At this time of the meeting, we have the second voice of the public. You may speak on any item you like. Just step forward and give your name and address. Seeing no hands, I need a motion to close second voice of the public.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
I don't believe there's any minutes, correct, Jay?
That's correct.
I need a motion to adjourn, please.
Make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Said there was gonna be a yard sale